And then we'll cover a lot of different topics. So go to high school, 14 years old. Who is Nick Fuentes?
Well, at 14 years old, I was already very political. I've been political since really I was 12 years old.
Why is that?
Well, I just started to develop an interest in politics. There were a lot of political conversations happening due to the rise of Obama, actually, in 2008, 2012. And I wanted to know basically everything about it. You know, when you turn around that age, you start to ask questions about the world and how we all got here and, you know, about things that happened before. And so the first thing I ever watched actually was Thomas Sowell on Uncommon Knowledge with, I think,
one of the
Peter
best.
Robinson. Yeah, they're both excellent from the Hoover Institute. And that was actually the first thing I ever watched, and I just devoured it. I devoured everything.
At 12.
Yeah, 12, 13, 14.
Who introduced you to Thomas Sowell?
I just Googled it. A buddy of mine in school was telling me about the private sector. I said, what is the private sector? You know, what is the economy? And so I just Googled it on YouTube, and that was the first thing that came up. And I watched the whole thing, and it was just, I was enamored by it. And I told my mom, I said, I want Free to Choose by Milton Friedman. That was the first political book I ever read. And one day I came home from school, and it was there on my bed, and I read it.
First book is Free to Choose.
Yes.
Capitalism, free market capitalism. And he was it's really him and Thomas Sowell. I think he came before Thomas did, right?
He did, yes.
Right.
Yeah, well, he was from the Chicago school. So it was Friedman, Sowell, and all the others. And so I read all that stuff in middle school and high school. And at that time, I was really a libertarian because that's just what was out there at that time. That was during the Ron Paul Revolution.
And the Fed.
Right, and the Fed. And there was so much online digital content. This is early 2010s that was being put out by young libertarians. So that's just what was out there and what was available. And so I worked through all of it. Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell, and read about all the Chicago school, even then the Austrian school, the really more libertarian economic stuff. And in high school, I was in Model UN, Student Council, speech team. I was very active in high school and, you know, one of those precocious autodidact type young guys.